You alright guys, welcome to my channel. This is Crypto Tyke, the inflation avoider. Now I am doing this video to see why it seems that after the Fed FOMC meeting, it doesn't seem to have had the desired impact on the crypto market that we would have hoped. And I think this is more down to macro events that are happening and bubbling over. And as we all know, people in the markets, even though these not supposed to be insider trading, have inside information that we don't necessarily have. And I think a lot of that hinges on what we're seeing with warships being sent to Venezuela by the United States and what could be going on moving forward with that. As we know, Venezuela have got the backing of Russia, and it seems that we could see strikes. That is what I'm looking at, and I think people know that. And that is going to cause even more uncertainty in the market, and there's already uncertainty with that because it's a bit of an escalation and it's something added that we really don't need, and it simply doesn't help us who have our money in crypto. It's like, will there just be one too many macro event pushing things further and further out before we see things pop in the crypto market, or will we just not see it at all? Is what's happening. Before you go any further, by the way, do hit the like button and do take a moment to subscribe. The like's really important because I'm trying to get the view counts up and see how things go in that direction. But yeah, looking at it just purely from what I can see and how this is how I've always managed things. This is how I've always predicted things in the past. It's looking at what's going on in the world, and it's like, it seems very much like what we're getting is too many macro events that are forcing prices down, forcing people out of crypto. And that has been persistent all through what could have been a very bullish bull market for crypto. And this means that, like we've seen with the re-eruption of the trade war, just at a point when we're all talking about October and everything like that and expecting prices to skyrocket, we get this massive crash, and that settles back. And unfortunately, this keeps happening. So maybe alt season would have been like in its full flow by now had it not been for the first batch of what happened, and maybe it'd have recovered had it not been for what happened with Israel as well and Iran and all that. And all we've had all through this is one knockdown after another, which is meaning people do not want to put too much into risk assets, and people are obviously putting their money in gold. And we know when there's trouble in the world, gold goes up. And I was saying before, a lot of that has been priced into gold already, but gold continues. Even after a dip, it's going back up again, and it just seems to be that it's one macro event after another. And in a way, it's kind of expected with a Trump presidency, but the problem is we've also got hanging over all this the initial problem with the Ukraine war and the overall global instability, where it wouldn't take much to light that flame for a third world war. We're certainly on that trajectory. Whether it'll happen or not is another subject altogether. But once again, in a month which is supposed to be bullish, we are now finding that warships are on their way to Venezuela, and it is very possible that the markets already know that this is going to result in some kind of strike, and quite imminently. So we'll have to watch that situation with caution. And when we're investing into crypto, we have to take that into consideration as well. How big a gambler are you? But that is not even the question. The question is, can prices still go lower? And the way things are looking and the way things have been slow, Bitcoin sticking at $110,000, just not high enough to be a problem of it dropping. Well, it's just high enough where you can see it dropping below 100,000, but also bang in the middle where you can also see it pushing on to 130,000. It's bang in the middle. And that is the problem with investing at the moment. It is bang on a knife edge. Do you wait and miss out on bargains, or are you catching a falling knife as it goes? And that is the big question. So with what's going on in the world, it's also, the problem is as well, again, China are wanting to invade Taiwan and upping tensions there. Would China look at something like an escalation with the USA and Venezuela as an opportunity to maybe do what they're planning? What could stem from this? But also, it is not good for the markets because Russia are taking sides with Venezuela, obviously. And that is just another flashpoint, another point of concern. So what I think the problem with the markets might be is too many of these macro events going on, too much uncertainty. We do not know whether we're coming and going, and that is holding the markets back. And the problem is every time the markets are having to make up for these drops. So we're always playing from being down rather than up. So without these macro events, the markets now, it could be 150,000 Bitcoin, maybe even a 200,000 Bitcoin without all of what's been going on this year. But unfortunately, it is, and that is suppressing prices. That is putting people off wanting to put their liquidity into crypto, into Bitcoin, because it's moved, it's in gold. People are hedging against inflation and putting that money in gold instead. So these are things, and also people are buying physical precious metals as well, like gold and silver. So it is very much risk off at the moment. The crypto market is in fear, which would normally, even from my point of view, would be buy. But even I'm looking at it going, well, actually, we have got things on the horizon that could push this market further down. And if that $103 mark, $100 mark, $1,000 mark is broken through and we go down, that could cause something catastrophic to happen. And it wouldn't be a great time to hold crypto. We might be in for a very long wait. But this is all part of being in the markets. There's nothing you can do about it because it's not just going to affect crypto. It'll affect the S&P 500 as well. So all these things are coming together to make it a really annoying time to be holding crypto. But at the same time, where there's difficulties, there's always opportunities. So we've got to be aware of that. The only thing is, we have to kind of look at our long-term strategy and hold on to that and look at where things are going. Because by the time there is anything going on with Venezuela, by the time anything kicks off, it could be too late to react. And that is something that you need to probably, not financial advisor, of course, and I'm not a financial advisor, but again, take another look at your portfolio. Are the profits there? Is there anything you could safely take out and perhaps get profits on? That would be worthwhile if you are preparing for a long haul with all the things that have been going on, because it could be that this top might not end up being, because it keeps getting suppressed by all these macro events, and the world's a dodgy place as it is. So a lot of people their money is going into gold, and that is why the price is coming back up again. And these are all things we have to consider, and it's really difficult. It is just not making life that easy for us, and we've got to be prepared that we might be holding on for the long term. So right now, I'm not in a rush to buy anything at the moment. I'm just watching the markets, seeing what materializes, seeing what's going on with Venezuela, and whether any of that's already priced in, perhaps, but what will happen will be more uncertainty when it does happen, because then you've got the global reaction to what happens to take into consideration as well, and that could get quite messy. So we'll see what materializes over the next few days, but that is one thing playing on my mind. Is it nothing more to do with the fact that we've had so many different macro events sending the price down? It is now getting too hard to claw back, and if we're looking at anything in a bull market, what we're looking at probably is reclaiming some positions we've already seen this year, and there might be an idea once you hit that level to take a bit of profit along the way once we get there, just to clear that bit out and then see if we can push up in coming months. Could be as late as March. But let me know what you think in the comments anyway. Do you think that part of this, the big problem, has been all these macro events going on that are causing people not to want to go into risk assets like crypto? Or do you think it's something else entirely? Let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear your viewpoint. But that's just my take on things. I could be wrong, but that is just the sense I'm getting at the moment, having looked at everything and being, why aren't things moving? Why aren't they going up? Why aren't they going down? Why isn't something happening? Why didn't prices go up after the FOMC? So nothing is making sense, and a lot of commentators that I'm hearing are struggling to make sense of why these things aren't happening. And the only thing I can think of that is different is we are in a bit of a shit show of macro events and things going on around the world, which all contribute to this uncertainty. And that's why Bitcoin, 110,000, is sticking in and around there, not wanting to go either way just yet. But next week, will we see a catalyst to cause it to go down? And then the next question is, how far will Bitcoin go down? And that will, as we know, affect altcoins, because whatever Bitcoin does, altcoins do a lot worse if it goes down. So we shall see. And that's another indicator as well. Somebody mentioned, they were commentating, and they mentioned that what we first need to see is actual Bitcoin dominance go back up and then come back down before we see alts take hold as well. So that's another delay, another thing that's factor that's delaying things as well, and it makes perfect sense. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, I should have a phone upgrade. It's still an ongoing thing. Tried to get one. They didn't have the iPhone with the sufficient memory that I wanted in stock, so I'm having to wait for it to come back in stock. I'm primed, ready to go for the new iPhone, but supply issues are now getting in the way as well. So we'll see how it goes, and it'll improve the quality of these videos a great deal. So thank you to those of you who have been patient with me so far. Thank you to the guys who have subscribed so far as well. It's much appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to be updated when I release videos. Until then, guys, I will catch you later. Bye bye.